तानि च यत्रैव पशमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनदृश्यभू कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति सीकरा यस्मात् आनन्दसाम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। वेदोदधिं समुन्मथ्य ज्ञानरत्नं समुद्रितं येन तस्मै वसिष्ठाय गुरुणां गुरवे नमः। वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। शब्द ब्रह्म की जय। सरस्वती महारानी की जय। योग वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। हरि ओम। We are discussing Srimad Sri Yoga Vasistha Nirvana Prakaran, last half, 7th chapter. After completing our story of monkey, the ascetic, Lord Vasistha is explaining to Ram. Yesterday we saw, and this is something to be very carefully seen. You see, Vasistha is advising Ram, "O Ram, you have to, inwardly you have to rest in peace, the absolute truth, and outwardly you have to deal with relative life, relative world, where everywhere there is comparative degrees, and everywhere we have relationship, we have comparison, we have always dependency. One is dependent on another. So this life itself is not free, it is dependent, because life wants support from every side. That's how Vasistha advised Ram inwardly to be silent and rest in peace, and outwardly doing everything without being attached, having no desires. Without desires we cannot live in this relative world. So we have to have desires. So he says, desires means whatever comes by the way without your asking or hoping for it or desiring for it, whatever comes by the way in around you every moment at present, neither to reject it nor to welcome it. And don't desire, don't have planning for the future, and don't be concerned with the past. So to live in present, that is possible. Whatever comes, you have to accept it without any if or but. And that is, in other words, he says, inwardly pure, outwardly impure. Impurity means mixture of everything. So this world is impure because it is not independent, it is always dependent and cooperatively everything goes on. So one is always dependent on other. That means all sorts of activities and restlessness, everything is there. So outwardly it is restlessness or contact with so many things means it is impure. Inwardly purity, outwardly impurity. That means body is outside only. The inner self, the individual self abides in the heart of hearts of the body, of the individual soul, individual personality, body. So he says, outwardly be impure, never mind. Being impure means to live in a relative world. It doesn't mean being impure doesn't mean, you say, to do all sorts of forbidden actions or unwanted thoughts, speech. That is, some people say, I have the right of expression, human right. Human right is not to do anything and everything what is objectionable by the others. You should not do something which is objected by others. Your life should not be a question or a burden or hindrance in the life of others. That's how you have to live in this world. And yet, why he says accept all the impurities, he gave the example. Yesterday we discussed it. We live in this world. Whosoever lives in this world, they are called worldly people. They are called worldly people. And worldly people means they are ignorant people. Okay? So realized souls, they don't live in this world. They are beyond this world, above this world. That does not mean they have gone understanding above the sky or floating in the air. That doesn't mean so. That means they live in the world, but they are not entangled with the world. That is what he is saying. यह जो असीम आत्मा है, वह जब तक ज्ञान नहीं रहता है तब तक स्वयं एक होता हुआ भी सबके रूप में यानी अनेक रूप में स्थित है, परंतु ज्ञान हो जाने के पर न तो वह एक है और न सर्वात्मक अनेक है, यानी न वह व्यष्टि रूप है और न समष्टि रूप है, क्योंकि ज्ञान काल में सभी बाधित हो जाते हैं। ऐसी स्थिति में उसमें अनेक रूपता की कल्पना ही कहाँ हो सकता है। प्रत्येक शरीर की उत्पत्ति और विनाश तथा सात वित्ते के नाप से आत्मा का नाप अनुभव में आता है। अतः आत्मा को नाना रूपता मान ली जाए, इसमें कौन सी आपत्ति है। जो चेतन आत्मवस्तु है वह परिपूर्ण आदि अंश से रहित व्यापक तथा आकाश के तुल्य निर्मल है। इसीलिए शरीर की उत्पत्ति एवं नाश होने पर उसकी उत्पत्ति या विनाश कैसे हो सकता है, उसका क्या बन बिगड़ जा सकता है। पहले इतना ही कहते, इन द वेरी बिगिनिंग वशिष्ठ जी टोल्ड, बी इन दिस वर्ल्ड बट डोंट बी वर्ल्डी। अपने आत्मा को शांत बनाइए और जो कुछ भी प्राप्त हो जाए उसका अनुस्मरण करते जाइए। वट be peaceful inside, and what outside, whatever comes by the way, accept it, follow it। है सौम्य जैसे स्फटिक पत्थर से बनाया गया चांदनी में स्थित प्रतिमा पुरुष सत्य है, तो भी उसमें दृष्टि का विरोध न होने से असत के तुल्य ही रहता है। वैसे ही आप सत्य होते हुए भी आत्मा की अद्वैत दृष्टि का निरोध न करने के कारण असत के सदृश ही बने रहिए। इन द वेरी बिगिनिंग वशिष्ठ जी एडवाइस्ड राम, गिविंग द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ ए प्योर क्रिस्टल स्टोन। उसी whatever is around that crystal, it reflects within the crystal. It holds all the reflection of objects around it, but yet it never gets influenced by it. It is all the time pure and transparent. That's how Vasistha ji advised Ram to live in this world. Inwardly you are pure most, you are the Supreme Self, live in peace, and outward world, though you live in the world, though you contact with the names and objects around you, yet they cannot disturb you, though they are seen within, just like the crystal stone. All the reflections it holds, but yet it maintains its purity and transparency all the time, continuously. So also, inwardly you are the Supreme Self. Be steady on that, and outwardly let the world be around you. May you have contact with the whole world and do your transactions, but yet don't be influenced by it. Don't give up your purity. That means inwardly always thinking of the Supreme Self, being merged in it. Outwardly just like a dramatist, some actor, go on doing something for no purpose. Why? Because when outward world is relative world, so you have to have relation with everything. Outward relation. Let it not influence your inner life. Bhadra, चित्त के चमत्कार रूप इस चंचल मन की एकमात्र चपलता के कारण ही ये सब जड़ संसार के खेल स्फुरित होते हैं, और उसकी चंचलता न रहने से आत्मा में ऐसे दिखाई पड़ते हैं जैसे जल में तरंग. Now he is touching the point which we discussed in the very beginning of the chapter. When there is disturbance in the chitta, the subconscious mind, chitta is used sometimes as subconscious mind, sometimes it is used as intellect, sometimes as mind, because everything rooted in it. So chitta means sometimes it is mind, sometimes intellect, and there is no much difference between mind, intellect, or ego, or chitta. Though they look like four different aspects, yet it is one and the same. Only when it looks like deciding factor, sometimes it looks like say just contacting, or sometimes it is storing something, accumulating something. In that way it is named, but the same process. So chitta is used as a mind also, same thing. He says, when there is, in the beginning we saw, when there is a disturbance or there is vibrations created in the subconscious mind or mind, fourfold mind we can say, that disturbance is seen in the absolute consciousness. It is seen. And when the mind gets settled, stable, then there is no all these, what we can say, restlessness or confusion or spots or vibrations, all these are not seen in the absolute consciousness. So this is explained here. When mind is in an individual being, universally, of course, this is same thing. Mind means universal mind means the creator. Creator means it is restlessness, always creating, always becoming many, progressing, developing, or multiplying. But the opposite is supreme self, that is always stable and continuous. Continuation is known as stability, never disturbed. So individually also we can see like that. Our individual mind is restless and inner self is in peace, always in peace. That is, the heart is always stable and in equilibrium state, and outwardly whatever we have, our contacts with objects, names and forms, this is because of our restlessness of mind, intellect, etc. But inwardly this innermost self is always pure, always stable, always in peace. So he explains, if the mind is disturbed, that disturbance is seen in the consciousness. It appears as if the person is disturbed. Person means real person is self, innermost self. That appears as if it is disturbed. He gave the example of this crystal. When the outside reflections are seen in it, we think it is disturbed, impure. But in reality, it is never disturbed. There is no disturbance at all. Similarly, this individual being also, outwardly, though we have all these contact, relationship with names and forms, everything, it appears as if we are eternally restless. But inwardly, it appears as if it is so. But in reality, inwardly, always that peaceful mood is maintained, equilibrium is maintained, because heart cannot be disturbed, just as the purity or transparency of the crystal cannot be disturbed. That means he wanted to say, Ram, be always introvert, think of the self. Outwardly, let the senses, mind, prana, etc., they play their havoc, their game. That is not your concern. If this can be attained, then only one says, one is taken as Jnani, a realized soul, and he can darely say, wherever the mind goes, or whatever the senses do, I am not at all concerned, nothing, no gain, no loss. No gain, no loss. I am not at all concerned. भद्र शुभ्र मेघों में कल्पित वस्त्र रूपता वस्तुतः जैसे पहनने के काम में नहीं आती, वैसे ही इस देह में कल्पित आत्मरूपता भी वस्तुतः कुछ काम में नहीं आती. He gives another example. Sometimes we get some new examples which is not seen anywhere, nor we have seen it before. He says, now he gives the example. You see, O Ram, you see some white patch of cloud in the sky. It appears as if a cloth. It can appear as anything you think. Anything you think, it will appear like that. So he says, a white patch of cloud in the sky, which appears as a cloth, white cloth, can you wear it? Can the body use it? No. Similarly, he says, this body, so-called body, which appears to be something, it is nothing. It cannot hide the self, just as the cloth hides our body. Means it envelops our inner entity. It protects our skin. And inner self is not at all concerned with the outer cloth like this body. We see the example of body as a cloth in Gita. Vasansi jirnani jatha vihaya navani grihnati naro parani. Similarly, just as the person gives up all these old clothes and purchases or uses new clothes, so also it gives up this old bodies, just as old clothes, and after it gets a new body, that means a new cloth. So this body is taken as a cloth, overlapping agent on something inside. That inside entity is pure self, and outside is this so-called body composed by 5 elements. This sky, air, fire, water and earth. 5 elements has composed this body to protect the inner self. Just as we build our houses to live inside safely, protect ourselves from rain and sun, from cold, we have and from outer attacks, we live inside the building. Similarly, the self lives inside this body. Body is taken as a cloth sometimes. Sometimes it is taken as a house, puri house. Sometimes it is taken as a, a city. The inner person is the king of the city, the owner of the city. In many ways, this body and self, they are taken. So here he says, just as the cloth seen in the cloud, mentally, imaginary cloth cannot protect your body, so also this body cannot protect this self. It is just perishable and it is destructible. It may get disturbed, destroyed any moment. It cannot really protect the inner self. The inner self is never influenced by it, nor it is hidden by it. That means the self is ever free. It is not influenced by anything. हे श्री राम जी, आप अनेक तरह के प्रपंच को देने वाली अवस्तु में यानी मिथ्या पदार्थ में डूबिए मत। ओ राम, don't be merged in these worldly objects which are transitory and which gives only miseries, problems. मुख्य भव्य अनंत वस्तु की मुक्ति रूप अनंत सुख के लिए उपासना कीजिए। Be always hopeful, have some hope, or do something always, have some self-effort. Whatever you do, let there be the goal of your doings, only one that is permanent, which is permanent, and don't do any effort for transitory, momentary consequences obtained by changeful objects which are so momentary, destructible. Don't have any effort for all these mundane objects which are so transitory. वह कौन वस्तु है जिसका भावना करनी चाहिए? The same thing in Mahabharata, when the Mahabharata was over, in Shanti Parva, Akhir, in the end, Yudhishthira was much perturbed. He was always thinking, I am the cause for such a great destruction, such a world war. So many people died and so much loss. I am the cause, root cause is I. So he was always worried, always thinking why I did all this. So Vyasadeva used to come and console him at times. And he used to go to, Yudhishthira used to go to our Bhishma Pitama, who had not left the body. For some time he was waiting for Uttarayan. to leave this body. He was resting on a arrow, bed of arrows. And Yudhishthira used to go to our Bhishma Pitama and used to ask many things. Used to talk a little for giving little consolation to Pitama Bhishmaji. Pitama also was talking to Yudhishthira, advising sometimes, do like this, do like that, and don't worry, consoling each other. So once Yudhishthira asked the same question to Pitama Bhasma, what shall I do? What is the best action by doing which a worldly man can get over all these problems, miseries, and he will rest in peace forever? What is the way? What is the action which should be done always? What to do for eternal peace? So Bhishma Pitama gave the initiation of Vishnu Sahasranam. O Yudhishthira, the only duty is to think of the Absolute. That is the only duty which should be done by everyone at all time to get over these miseries of this world, or worries and anxieties, problems of the world. That is the only way. So, to remember the truth means some method should be there. To remember some person, we have to remember the name or the form. That is the only way we have, either the form or the name. So the Absolute has many names. Those names, of course, whatever names, whatever sound we hear, everything belongs to the Absolute only. All the words merge in only one syllable, Om. All the meaning, everything is originated from one word and they merge in one word, the Om. So, all these names belong to only one. So that is God's names. God has all these names, but some names are important and most used words, names. You see, one person has so many names in practical, our day-to-day life we see. You see, in the house head will be called as father by children. His name is father. And his wife will call him by some name, Amukka Pita, some name. Nowadays they call by the name. Oh, क्या नाम उनका, बेला माता जी बोलते हैं, मुकेश, oh Mukesh. So they call by name. Wife calls by name, one name. Children call the same person as father. Somebody calls him as brother, And when he goes to outside market, he is called as Bhai Saheb or some other name. Many names he has. And when he goes to the school as a teacher, he says, sir, my teacher. And when he goes to the station, railway station, purchases a ticket to go somewhere, he is called passenger, traveler, hearer, speaker, so many names. Every moment the names change. And one person has so many names. When he asks something in some stage, he will be actor. And if he goes to the fields, his own fields, he is called as a farmer. So many names. One person has got so many names. Similarly, the Absolute has all these names they are in all these names and forms. So, our Pitama Bhishmaji gave 1,000 names to Yudhishthir. Go on chanting it. By chanting this, you can remember the Supreme Self, and that is the only way to get out of this worldly problems and miseries. This is what Vasistha also is advising to Ram. The only duty is for you to remember God at all cost. Remember this self. That does not mean you have to keep quiet, not doing anything by your senses or body or mind. You have no concern with this body and senses. When you accept you are the self, inner self, वह कौन वस्तु है जिसकी भावना करनी चाहिए? इस पर कहते हैं चित्त रूपी अनंत आकाश ही असली वस्तु है, उसका किसी तरह नाप नहीं हो सकता। जिनका आत्मा एक रूप बन गया है, उनके लिए यही सबसे बढ़ चढ़ उत्तम वस्तु है। श्री राम जी, इसे एक वस्तु में आपका चित्त सदा रमण करें। If there is a question, somebody asks, what is the one thing which should be always thought over? So he gives the answer, that is the absolute consciousness sky. One who knows it, he never can get out of it. He will be always thinking of it, always be merged in it. For him, O Ram, there is no other duty to do, because that is all-pervading truth. So nothing else can be done. So the only duty is to remember the consciousness sky, the truth, at all time, at all cost, in every condition. उसका क्या फल है? If it is done so, what one will get? What is the result? Always we think, what shall I get by doing this? That is the most important question. Ajay, please go some people are going to Gangotri, you can go with them and go and see Gangotri and come. Why should I go? What shall I get? You have to answer the question, then only I will go. Whatever we do, we have the aim and object. What shall I get? What is the achievement? Everywhere. So here he says, if I go on thinking of the absolute only, what shall I get? What benefit? Here if I think of worldly objects, I get some pleasure and I enjoy so many things. Worldly objects one enjoys. So what shall I get if I think of the sky? That is the most important question always put by everyone. What shall I get? इसका फल क्या है? इस पर कहते हैं, इस प्रकार के निश्चय से युक्त हुए आप ही अज्ञान रूप बंधन से निर्मुक्त निरंजन है। उक्त निश्चय ध्याता ध्यान और ध्येय से शून्य त्रिपुटी शून्य है, त्रिकाल में बाधित होने वाला नहीं है। ध्याता ध्यान और ध्येय इनमें कोई भी सत्य नहीं है, यानी त्रिकाल अबाधित नहीं है। Result he gives. You say always we have a falashruti. Whatever we do, in the end, everywhere in our scriptures, in every you say spiritual text or something, everywhere we get the falashruti, the result in the end. If you do so, you will achieve this and that and that. They go on giving you some hope. You will get this, you will get that. So in Gita we see, it is said, you have the right to do actions, do your duty, but you don't have the right to command over what the result of your work. Just as the students, they have the right, they have the duty, they have to do. They have to study all through the year in the class, whatever scheme is given to the class for 1 year, they have to go through it. They have to toil hard to get good marks. But getting marks after appearing the exam, getting marks is not in the hands of the students. They have to sit in the exam hall. They have to appear the exam, and till then they have all the rights. They can do everything. Either they should go or not. They should write this or that. They have got freedom. But they don't have freedom to think of or command over the result. Result is in the hand of the teacher or the master. So, if this is said, you have the right, you have the authority to do your duties, your efforts, but you have no right on the result of your actions, reactions. You have no right. So everywhere we get the result. Why? Why it is given? Why always this question comes? If I do this, what shall I get?
To fool us into doing that, Swami.
Huh?
To fool us into doing that.
It will?
To fool us into doing that.
Giving you some hopes.
Phala is not in our hands.
Yes.
And so we do it, of course, it is understood that when we do that, there is something automatically that is taken care of in its own time. बुद्धि आ जाता है बीच में बुद्धि आ जाता है क्या मिल रहा है काम करना
That means you are persuaded. क्या कहते हैं उसको जब हम प्रचार करते हैं ना वोट वगैरह के लिए प्रोपागंडा ने और एक वर्ड कहते हैं जी उसको पटाने के लिए मैनिपुलेटिंग और कैनवैसिंग ऑयलिंग that means you are being brainwashed. You have to have some desires for it, then only you will do. Is it so?
As we have already desires, so they are using that to just trap us into that for our good, of course.
But it is said you should not think of the result. You have no right over the result. Why should you think it? And yet everywhere they try to persuade you.
And even in Gita it says, Bhagavan, you don't have...
Yes, Gita has got also Gita, Mahatmya, Falashruti. So what is the purpose? Purpose, of course, this is to persuade you. You see, who does the self-effort? Who has the sense of doing some effort? Who does some effort? One who has got desire. Without desire, nobody is going to do some effort. Jnani, the wise persons, they don't do anything. They don't think I am the doer. Doer, doing and done work by me. All these aspect is not at all there in the wise persons. So only the ignorant persons do their duties, and they do their duty what for?
For fulfillment of desire.
There will be some aim. Without aim, neither the wise person nor the ignorant person can do anything. Aim is there. Nobody is aimless. Everybody has some aim. Every life has some aim. This cannot be denied. And nowhere it is denied in the scriptures. You should have always a target, that is said, isn't it? So when you don't see the target, your aim, can you go ahead? No. Without seeing ahead, can you go? Your temporary present aim is to step here. The future, the final aim to reach somewhere. Temporary aim and the permanent confirmed aim, there is of course relatively difference. Every step we have to see and walk, isn't it? But why do we walk? We have to reach somewhere. So that is our final aim. And temporary, periodical aim is, I have to say, go this way, and see the arrow mark, where to go, what to do. So all these are temporary aims. And final aim should be, one who thinks of the aim, he reaches the aim, no doubt in it. That's how everywhere it is said, our aim is the absolute. So if you think of absolute, you have reached it. Brahma vid brahmeva bhavati. And if you think of it, you are that. Whatever you think, you get it. As you think, so you become. That means your aim should be always thought over, isn't it? And by giving the falashruti, that means the reaction, your result when is seen before you, then you know your target. It is not persuading you or doing something. It is giving you the target. Indirectly giving you the target. If you do so, you will reach here. Now it is your choice whether you do it or not. Nowhere it is forced, isn't it? Only the falashruti is given. If you do this work, you will get this. It doesn't mean it persuades you. If you are persuaded, that is different. It is your matter. It is your problem. Oh, if I do this, I will get some this happiness or that object or something. That is your problem. But it should be given, because when the reaction is not known, how can you do some action? That is the wise way. And target should be always seen, and then you can go forward to reach the target. When this falashruti is given, you know if you go through this will be your achievement. If you want it, then do it. If you don't want all this, give it up. It is your choice. Your choice. Nowhere it is forced. Falashruti is given, but nowhere it is said that you have to go through all these so that you will get it. Of course, falashruti is a must. जो पाठ करके फलश्रुति नहीं पढ़ता है, उसको नहीं मिलता है कुछ। ये तो कहा गया है ना? ये तो कहा गया है, गीता पाठ के बाद फलश्रुति जरूर पढ़ना। क्यों कहा गया? Why it is said? Because you don't know what will be the reaction of it. So if you know the reaction, then you should do the action. You are going to do the action. That should be known. And if you don't want that, it is your choice. You are free to do or not do. Nobody has said you have to study Gita. But when you study Gita, then you have to know what is the result. You see, the students appearing the exam, they will get the result. They will get. And they know they will get something, but they don't have right over it. If they get good results, then they will effort hard, they will do more labor for it. So it is in this way. That should be there as a target. You see, you want to go to Gangotri, okay? You are coming from Rishikesh, and there is a bifurcation. One way goes to Jamunotri, one way goes to Gangotri. Arrows are there. If you don't know which road is for Gangotri and which is for Jamunotri, how can you go ahead? You have to. You ought to know where you are going. And for that, it is given. And here he says, what is the gain? Why should I think of the absolute? What shall I achieve? So he says, Vasistha जी explains, इस प्रकार के निश्चय से युक्त हुए आप ही अज्ञान रूप बंधन से निर्मुक्त निरंजन है। उक्त निश्चय ध्याता ध्यान और ध्येय से शून्य त्रिपुटी शून्य है, त्रिकाल में बाधित होने वाला नहीं है। ध्याता ध्यान और ध्येय इनमें कोई भी सत्य नहीं है, यानी त्रिकाल बाधित नहीं है, अबाधित नहीं है। He says the result will be, you will get the knowledge. You will get rid of ignorance. This is the result. If you think of the absolute sky, the truth, consciousness sky, you will get the knowledge. Then you will get rid of ignorance. Now, what is ignorance? Why should I get rid of ignorance? Is there a need to get out of ignorance? Is ignorance dangerous for us? Is there a need for knowledge? What is knowledge and what is ignorance? This should be known. Then only we shall decide whether we need knowledge or we need ignorance. What is called ignorance? This should be understood fast. And he says, if you think of the absolute sky, then you will get the knowledge. And when you get the knowledge, that is free from Triputi. Knowledge is free from Triputi. Triputi means triads. Triads means the doer, doing process, and done object. All these three aspects are called triads. Triputi, three aspects. So the doer, the seer, or the hearer, or the achiever, the doer, and he does something, that process, seeing, hearing, or doing something by hands or by legs, and some result is obtained, that is called the done object. So Without these three aspects, nothing can go on in this world. Everywhere this is seen. So you may ask, how can you see this tree has got triad? Yes, triad is there. The animals, the insects, the birds, everywhere, of course, the bird flies, he is the flyer, and flying the action and getting the target, that is done. The animal, he eats the grass, eater and eating process and eaten object. In this way, everywhere triad is seen. So what about this trees or other inert beings? There is also, we have to analyze, then only you can see. Grower, tree grows up, grower, growing, and grown, the height is grown. So in that way, everywhere the triad is seen. Without triad there is no world, no possibility of this world. And these triads are seen in names and forms. The world is only names and forms. And names and forms are contacted or related or cooperated by triads. This is the process of this world. Now he says, if you think of the absolute sky, you will get knowledge. What is knowledge? What is called knowledge? Explanation or definition of knowledge is given as free of triads, where there is no triad. That is called knowledge. A new definition, परिभाषा ज्ञान का, जहाँ त्रिपुटी नहीं है, where there is no triad, no doer, no doing process, and no done object. And now you can question, just before Vasistha was telling, go on doing whatever comes by the way, let your senses do whatever way they like, let the body move on, you have no concern. Then now he says, the world is full of triads, doer, doing, and done. And knowledge is without doing, doer and doing and done. How Jnani will have this? The wise man will have triad, or he should not have, or he does not have. What is the situation? Of course, a wise man does everything without doership. That's how there is no doership in it. He does, his senses do, but he never claims, he never thinks, I am the doer. Without ego of doership, he does the work. So he is not concerned in the process, also doing process. And he is not concerned on the done object also. In this way, the knowledge is devoid of triputis. And in Gita, in many other scriptures, we get do everything without doership. That is the theory of karma yoga. Karma yoga, do everything, go on doing everything, but have no doership that ego of doership. Just as a servant, that purchased servant does everything without hoping for the result of his actions. Whatever he does for his master. He never gets the result of it. He is just a servant. So, Bandhua Mazdur, we say, he does everything for his master. So also, a karma yogi should do whatever he does, it should be offered to the master. Jat jat karma karomi tat tadakhilam sambho tavaradhanam samarpayami tera tujhko samarpan. Everything belongs to the Lord, and whatever I am doing, it is on His behalf. It is not I who is the doer. And whatever is done by Him only, He gives the encouragement. If I want to go to Rishikesh, by your order, you have to give my wayfare, my petrol in the bike. It is your. I am no way concerned with it. So whatever the master allows, gives you, accordingly you do everything. So you have to think that seriously, honestly, that I am not the doer, and whatever is being done, that also is being done by Him, and whatever is obtained by this process, that also belongs to Him. Just as a purchased or hired servant, he has no right over his result. So Jnani does like this automatically. He has that feeling that I am not the doer, nor I can do anything. The senses do everything for sense sake. Indriyani indriyarthebhya vartanta iti dharayan. The senses do everything for sense sake. I am nowhere concerned. If the hand takes some lumps of food, puts in the mouth eats it, the taste is enjoyed by the tongue, the energy is supplied to the whole body, I am not concerned at all. Indriyani indriyarthebhya vartanta iti dharayan. You should think in this way. Or else, otherwise, you have to think the nature does everything by the nature, for the nature, and the result is enjoyed by the nature. Nature is the doer, nature is the process, nature gets the result. Prakritehe kriyamanani, and the method is, the process is by three qualities. Gunehi karmani sarvasaha, by the three qualities. All the actions are done by the nature, by the help of imbalancing the three qualities. Ahankara vimudhatma karta miti manyate. The ignorant, arrogant fellow thinks that I am the doer. Who are you after all? If you are the body, your body is made by the nature. You are not the body. If at all you are the body, it is nature's creation, and nature is responsible for all these. You are nowhere seen here. You cannot claim. You cannot. And one who doesn't know this, the foolish, ignorant, arrogant fellow, he says, I am the doer. Yes, Guruji?
Perhaps from a relative point of view, this nature, the logical value should be given both as self and non-self. There are words used, anatman and atman, also the nature is both.
In what case? Atman and Anatman.
The
Nature. Yes, nature is not the self, but it appears the form of self, superimposes as it is self. Just as the snake and the rope, that is called nature. Snake is the nature, something which is not there. And three qualities are not there. We say three qualities are there, which are the most important factor of the Mool Prakriti, nature. But what are the three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas? They are only some imbalanced states seen in different ways, or we call it different aspects, different forms of imbalanced state. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, all these three are only imbalancedness of balanced state. That's all. Spandan Prakriya. If it is vibrated very quickly, it is called Rajas. If it is very slow and aware of itself, it is called Sattva. If it is haphazard and very slow, unaware of it, it is called Tamas. All the three are vibratory process, nothing else. And this process is known as the nature, imbalanced state. And imbalanced state cannot be different than the balanced state. He gives the example, point also in the end, just as for a knowledgeable person, the waves are only imbalanced state of the water. There is no wave whatsoever as wave. It is only water seen in disturbing state. Water seen in disturbed state, imbalanced state, is called wave. There is no different identity than the water, which is called wave. So, nature is not different from the absolute truth. But this nature is taken as different because it creates all this confusion and this. So when we say nature's work is body and nature does everything, nature is called ego. If we say so, we have to say other language also simultaneously parallel to it. Nothing is being done. Neither you are there, nor you can do something, nor you have done something, nor you get any result. You cannot say I. There is no I. And still from other angle we can say, it looks as if something is done. It is not really done. Different languages can be applied for explaining this same thing. From still other point, we can say, you see, the The absolute is the doer. There is no other doer other than the absolute. This way also it can be interpreted. Whatever is being done, it is done by the absolute. There is no other doer than one, absolute one. This way also we can interpret. So many angles, many types of words we use, many language we use. But really speaking, all these are matter of our expression, our understanding, our approach. So as we think, as the question is put, what shall I get by doing all this? So the answer is given to the question. Whosoever puts the question, the answer is for him only. So the answer is, you will get the knowledge. Then question comes, what is called knowledge? The knowledge means where there is no all these triputis, doer, doing and done. So from this we have to discuss how is the doer, who is the doer. We say where there is no triputi, no doer, no doing, no done. So if at all some doer is there, how is the doer, who is the doer, how the doer is defined? That is the question. So here, for this question the answer is, some ignorant persons, they think they are the doer, whereas it is not the reality. Nobody is the doer here. If at all some doer is there, then it is the nature. Nature means which is not reality. Say, nature of the water is to be seen in a disturbed way, that is waves and tides or the bubbles or whirlpools or the slopy flow. This is the nature of the water. But water is not this. The nature of the fire is heat, light. But if you say heat, it is not the fire. If you say light, it is not only fire. We can get light from any source, isn't it? So, swabhav means nature, which is not other than the object, and it is seen as if it is different from the other object. You see, we say the nature of wind is, what is its nature? Touch. Can you not touch something which is not wind? Is it only the wind which has touch, nothing other can have touch? Can you not touch this? Huh? Can you not touch fire? Only can you touch wind, nothing else? So how can you say wind has got the nature of touch? Touch, other objects have also the nature as touch. but wind has also. So wind can be only known by touch. We can touch it and know, we can see it and know, isn't it? We can hear it and know by sound. But wind we cannot see, we have to touch. So it's a nature. It is said like that. Now, nature is not different from the object. Fire is not different from its heat. Heat is not different from fire. They are identical, but nature is seen as other than the object. So this is how the nature, our so-called the universal nature, the creation itself is not other than the absolute truth. That's how it is said, Avyakt and Vyakta, manifested and unmanifested. When it is unmanifested, it remains in the absolute as, just as the tree remains in the seed in the form of potency or future DNA, which will manifest afterwards. The tree remains in the seed in an unmanifested situation or aspect. Similarly, this nature also is there in the absolute when the creation is not there in the form of unmanifested nature. Unmanifested nature. And when it is manifested, we call it nature. So now we have to see these differences. The wise man has knowledge. That knowledge is devoid of triputi. He never is the doer. He knows, he realizes that he cannot be the doer, nor the enjoyer, and nor he can get the result of any action, nor he can do the process. Nothing is possible for him, because he is not at all concerned with all these. All these are false assumptions. It is assumed as if it is going on. He knows it. Just as we know, we see the fog, which is not at all there. There is no fog. Fog we cannot define perfectly. We cannot define the sky perfectly, nor the wind perfectly. Something we define. Similarly, this wise man, he knows all these doership or doing process or the done object. All these are just assumptions, just as seen something foggy, confused, some ideas. There is no truth in it. That's how he is beyond triputi. And he has this knowledge. This knowledge is devoid of triputi, triads. And whereas the ignorant person knows that I am the doer, that is called ignorance. I will get the result. There is neither any action nor any reaction. Analytically, if you see, there is neither action nor reaction. And if at all action is there, who is the doer? Not one can be the doer. By the cooperation of all the concerned objects, an action can happen. An event can be seen by cooperation of innumerable hands. No one person can be the doer if we see analytically. If you get a flower, that flower is not done by not made by, not done by, or not given by the gardener. No. Gardener has nothing to do with the flower. You say, no, he is the caretaker, he is the gardener, garden belongs to him. That doesn't matter if at all he digs the ground or puts some plant or applies some manure or water or does something. By what? Can he do by his hands? Instruments he needs, other help he needs, water he needs, manure he needs. Then only by help of all these the plant can grow and plant can have a flower. That flower you get. How can you claim the doer is gardener? So, if we go on like analyzing like this, the whole world has to get together to do any action. That's how it is said, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvata. The whole nature comes to do one action. Whole nature. How can you as some singular identity can claim, I am the doer? Who are you then? You are also the product of, if you are at all a body, you are also the product of your nature. So your identity is not available here, not found. Bring your Aadhaar card or else get out. Will not allow you in our ashram. Yes, Guruji. Aadhaar card chahiye, ID card. It is not found. तो वो कह रहा है, this is the result. If you think of the absolute sky, you will get knowledge which is devoid of tipputi. So you will not be the doer, not doing, nor done. So you will not be restless. Naturally you will rest in peace. And त्रिकाल में बाधित होने वाला ये नहीं है. This knowledge is divided of the meditator, meditation and meditated upon. ध्यान, ध्याता और ध्येय. All these tripudi, these triads are not seen in the knowledge, but in ignorance this is seen. When anybody comes, what do you do? Where from here? I am from that yoga center. What do you do there? I meditate there. He is the meditator. Can you analytically, if you see, can you say somebody can meditate? Who is meditating? Who is meditating? And what is the process of meditation? Who does this process? Go on analyzing, tomorrow we shall see. Who is the meditator? What is called meditation? who meditates and how to meditate, and on what is the result meditated upon, on what you have to meditate. Tomorrow we shall see ये जो त्रिपुटी ज्ञान में और अज्ञान में, both we shall see. अज्ञानी का त्रिपुटी कैसा है और ज्ञानी का त्रिपुटी कैसा है. How is the triad of the wise man and triad of the ignorant man? Tomorrow we shall see. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasisate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Satchidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Sabda Brahma ki jai. Saraswati Maharani ki jai. Yoga Vasistha Bhagavan ki jai.